I keep on saying the thing about history, Tim. Let me ask you a question. What category of people would you say are best placed to be overnight millionaires in this country corruptly?
People who are connected to the government or to the ruling, or let's put it this way, to the ruling party. I won't say the government. Let me be more specific. The ruling party.
And let us make sure we people don't misunderstand us and think we're pointing out to one particular ruling party.
Right.
The best place for crooks to become multimillionaires overnight and still be respected by the best institutions in the country is to be in government. When you are crooked in government, there are people around you who can see it because, Christopher Hitchens, one of my favorite writers, he says the whole point about corruption in politics is that it cannot be done or done properly without bipartisan consensus. Meaning that, let's say it's a government we're talking about. A government cannot continue to be corrupt for long in our country unless it is supported by the church, the lawyers, the educated people, the judges, the novena or rosary people, the people you see on their knees, they have calluses on their knees. No government can be corrupt for long in a country where the majority of the perceived right-thinking people are not also crooks in disguise. Crooks under their cassocks, crooks under their long dresses, crooks, period. You understand what I'm saying? Do you buy that or you do?
I get your point, yes. I get your point, yes. I agree.
So we have you're saying?
I mean, there must be enablers, Eric.
They are not just enablers. They're crooks themselves. I want to say enablers are also crooks. Complicity in crookedness makes you a crook. And that is why corruption is so rampant in this country. I am convinced people go into politics in this country for no other reason, give or take one or two, for no other reason than to become rich of corruption. And Tim, the CIP is about the best opportunity for corruption. The CIP. That is why so much emphasis is placed on due diligence when they are selling the idea. They promise you there'll be fantastic due diligence, etc., etc. I wrote at the time we were considering, well, I say consider, the government pretended it was considering, but it already made up its mind. But at the time, Von Lewis was writing about the plan to go into the CIP program. One of the thing he emphasized most was the importance of due diligence.
Yes.
But Tim, we were talking about due diligence. Well, we were not talking about it. One or two of us was pointing it out. That's all. We were talking about due diligence in a country famous for not having no respect for due diligence, no transparency, no accountability. We are famous for that. How else are you going to explain that our audited accounts are 2 or 3 years behind time? How are you going to explain that the government continues to borrow money in our name when it has not accounted for at least 3 years of spending the same money they borrow, etc.? How are you going to do that? How are you going to look at yourself in the mirror and talk about CIP when you're sitting on your ass there doing absolutely nothing? You don't care And even the judges, the ex-judges who have all the best. Anytime there's some committee, they head it. The church, all of them, they know that, Tim. They know that. They know that the CIP laws require accountability. That the due diligence must begin at home. And the way we do that is to check out the accounts of the CIP. Well, we have how many years? 2 or 3 years behind on that too.
About 2 years, yeah.
We're behind on that too. What exactly do we have in place to protect the country from corruption that is actually operating, Tim? Not the police, not the courts, not the judges, not the ex-judges who advise government, not the prison people, nobody. So you might as well not have any of those protection devices at all, Tim. Because everybody is basically trying to live off a crook in office. You want to think about that? Think about it for a second. So, the CIP, we don't need to go too deep into all the things in the blog and who writes this and who writes that. Why is it we cannot work up the balls to demand that the government, I'm warning, all right, demand that Emmanuel, what's his name,
McLeod.
Give an account publicly, and by that I mean before a press conference, about that trip he took, especially to see Philip Martinez. Why is that a state secret? Now we get to the other guy. I have written very little about Ernest Hilaire. Very, very little. But Ernest Hilaire is the guy right now that we should order special magnifying glasses to look at him. Because the nation must take another look at Ernest Hilaire. Must. And demand special accountability of Ernest Hilaire more than any other minister. Why do I say that? Because every scandal that is in this damn country involving money or involving accountability, in the middle of it is Ernest Hilaire. True or not? I know you don't want to answer that. One of his favorite words is vindicated. I was vindicated. Ernest Hilaire has been vindicated of nothing. The allegations made against him still stand as allegations, and will continue to stand for allegations because we don't have. And I'm going to put my neck there again. We don't have the leadership, opposition leadership, that can muster up the kind of protest that is needed at this time. Because all the Prime Minister has to do is order. He's there to face the press. Face the press in a press conference and leave himself open to answer questions. We know what we know about Jufali from Ernest Hilaire, who was at the High Commission at the time of Jufali, is at best dubious. Am I right or wrong on that?
Yeah, you're correct.
And I'm very good at choosing my words, because this is one country wherever you ask an inconvenient question, the Minister of Government is at your taxpayers' expense going to put the questioner before the courts. And he's going to come up with the best lawyers, knowing very well you don't have the actual evidence. Somebody said, the absence of evidence is evidence you need to go deeper into a subject. Because just as you're going to ask the guy for evidence that he's speculating you might be a crook, you should be presenting him, especially in politics, not everywhere. You should be presenting the public with your evidence to dispel what the opposition is saying about you. You don't put people in court for that. That is called the chilling effect. because most people cannot afford to go to court with any minister of government. So whenever you hear a minister of government talking about he's going to get lawyers and going to sue you, he is suspect, because more often than not, he's getting the services of the lawyer for free. And he will take care of business, will take care of business later. That is how it works, Tim. Lawyers in this country, government people in this country, when they sue you, you lose. No matter how you win, you still lose, because they'll come up with the best lawyers who are rewarded in their own underhand way, and you'll never know. You remember when you used to ask our present Prime Minister, when you used to ask him how much was the country paying Tony Estefan for all those cases he was taking up for the government and ignoring local lawyers but taking to Anthony Estefan.
Yeah.
You asked him that question many times on his Nicolai. Do you remember his answer every time?
I don't know. I don't know.
And I will answer it for you. It wasn't just I don't know. You want me to lie? And here's the joke about this, Tim. In Philip Pierre's circumstances at that time, I personally believe he was telling you the truth. That he didn't know. Because as it turned out, much of many of the scandals, official scandals we hear of that somehow involved Kenny Anthony, were done outside the country and not with public servants. Just read the Ramzahoy report and you'll see it. They were done with Trinidadians outside of Saint Lucia or with Estefan. So when Philip Pierre was saying, I don't know, he probably was telling the truth. But back to Mr. Hilaire. He actually used the word, I was vindicated. He was not vindicated in the matter with Chico. As I recall, he sued Chico for libel and then offered Chico the opportunity to apologize, claimed that that Chico apologized. Chico himself said he never apologized, and the case disappeared. Am I correct?
You're correct, yes.
Good. The matter of the customs thing, all that happened was the customs officer, chief customs officer, was replaced. Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
And whatever was associated with that, what's the guy's name, Chico? Whatever else was associated with that was the Range Rover?
Yes.
It disappeared. So none of those things has ever been put before the public so that the public can feel okay that this minister cleared himself. That's not true. It is also Ernest Hilaire who, when he came back from the Privy Council, casually told reporters, no problem, I will see the AG and we'll change the law.
Yeah.
I'll change the law, so we'll change the law for Hilaire. I will change the law for myself. You know how much arrogance it takes to say a thing like that? And I could go on and on. There's Jojo Fally. What's the next one? Help me. And then we have the CIP now. The man is the head of the CIP. How can you just continue just like that, having private? The Prime Minister said he had a private talk with him. I have no doubt that's true. The Prime Minister asked him a couple of questions and he said that's all right. But that's not what the Prime Minister is there for. The Prime Minister is there to cause Hilaire to account to the people in the most public way. Openly, with television cameras and people recording it. Because it's not Hilaire's business we want to deal with. It's the people's business. And we must be given an opportunity to know for a fact whether Hilaire is worthy of that public trust. It has nothing to do with how you feel about Hilaire. Hilaire is spitting in the eyes of the whole country, if not shitting on their faces, by simply making himself a law unto himself and not accounting to the people. And he's doing that with the encouragement with 3/4 of the country, by which I mean the hacks of the members of his party who are there for the victory and nothing else, and 3/4 of those who maybe on Alan Chastain's side, whether are too chicken or don't understand they are the ones getting shafted enough, or maybe Alan is too genteel and gentleman. What is it going to take for politicians to learn to respect us? Do we have to resort to chaos in the country? Do we have to start throwing shit in the boulevard? Do we have to burn buildings? Do we have to do like what's happening in Haiti? Because that is the alternative this government is forcing on the people of this country. We are at our wits' end. And if we have weak opposition people, then we're in deeper trouble. Deeper trouble. We cannot pay a price because the opposition is too weak to stand up for the law and stand up for our rights that given us by the Constitution. Talking about Constitution, it's a piece of paper that most of us don't even know what's in there. Most of us can't read even if we have peculiarities about our country that must be addressed. We are no longer living in the times when you could trust politicians or when people were open. By virtue of being in government, you automatically were a gendarme. We know damn well most politicians are crooked, from Trump down to here. I could go on, but we have to get angry. We have to get angry with ourselves first and foremost. We have to get angry to look at our children and wonder what our children are thinking of us as chickens, believing nothing. The church, which is supposed to take a stand when things are wrong, nothing. You have Father Albert talks every now and again, but although he goes a little far for comparing him to the rest, he ain't begin to go far yet. Father Albert, Brother Harris, all of those guys should be walking the streets in defense of the people's rights. That's what they're there for. Men of God. They're supposed to lead against evil. In fact, it'd be so good to see the Fathers Alberts and Brother Harrises and the rest of them and all the Novena Rosary Shakers ignore Alan Chasney and mount their own protest, not against Pierre, not against Hilaire, but against the way that the Constitution is being walked over. And we doing it in the meantime as well. And my final word, those people who are protecting the victory, you have to feel sorry for them. What victory? A victory you're paying for with poverty? A victory you're paying for with no future? Is that what you're talking about? Ernest Hilaire, the Prime Minister, owes it to the country. Owes it to the country to put Hilaire out there and give an account of his stewardship in the circumstances concerning the CIT. Thank you very much, Tim.
Thank you so much for calling, sir. What do I say after that contribution?